19th, 2020. Any additions to the agenda? Approval of the agenda, please. Councillor Norbury.
That Tuesday, May 19th, 2020, regular council meeting agenda be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councillor Majinski. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Adoption of the minutes. Recommendation, please. Councillor Norbury.
Monday, May 4th, 2020, council meeting minutes be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councillor Majinski. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Business arising from the minutes, council? Staff? No? Thank you. Moving on to consent agenda. Recommendation, please. Councillor Norbury.
That all items in the May 19th, 2020 consent agenda be moved for information.
Seconder, Councillor Majinski. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Anyone like to discuss any of the items in the consent agenda? Councillor Norbury.
Start from the top. Let's start with the letter of support for the DAYS Society.
Seconder, Councillor Majinski. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Councillor Norbury.
Yeah, so we have a letter here from the DAYS Society asking for a resolution of support for their fairground construction grant application. I think that we should be sending a letter of resolution in support of the DAYS Society in regards to their NDIT grant to develop their fairground.
Okay. Any other comments? Councillor Krokauka.
Yeah, I have no problem. I was actually going to talk to Mr. Orwell because it was Council Kirby that had forwarded on some documents in regards to what they were actually applying for, because it doesn't state anything in their letter. Just says the amount compared to what Community Futures one is, the next one that will be coming up hopefully. So I didn't ask her because it doesn't talk about any plans. Just says what they're building, what company they're looking to build their structures or anything like that. There's no plan, and I just confirmed with Mr. Orwell that, you know, we have to, the staff have to see that to have that approved by council before anything can be built. So I was concerned that that wasn't part of their ask in the grant or submitted, that they have something there, because they talk about having it built in 2021 as per their grant application. But Mr. Orwell reached out to Ms. Cosgrove this afternoon, and once if they receive the grant or get acknowledged that they'll be approved, then they're looking at trying to get out and get a design together. So I mean, it's a little, obviously get wait to see to get the money, then they'll do that. But I was concerned that they didn't have that. I have no issues now.
Okay. Councillor Majinski.
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. I had Ms. Cosgrove reach out to me today, and she said part of the ask is to have to actually go through with the design and all that was about $10,000. So that was going to be part of this ask as well, so that they can get the funding to do the design work, get the concepts, and then come back to council with approval with their design ideas and their concepts, because it would have to be approved by us before going forward. So that was just something that she mentioned to me today.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Norbury.
So with that, I think we do need to have a motion. So I'd like to make a motion that we send a letter of resolution to support the DAYS Society.
Motion of support.
Just give Jane time to catch up. So a motion to send a letter of resolution to support the DAYS Society in regards to their NDIT grant for development of a fairground.
Okay, seconder, Councillor Kirby. More discussion? Just curious on the wording, letter of resolution, they're looking for a letter of support. Okay, Councillor Norbury.
In the letter we're writing today, request a letter of resolution. They need a specific letter of resolution, not just a letter of support. I double check that as well.
Copy that. Thank you. Any other discussion? Call to question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Any other items up for discussion? Councillor Howe.
7.4.
Seconder, Councillor Majinski. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Councillor Howe.
Oh, I have two concerns in this letter from the province. One of them is in the third paragraph, the province makes a statement where they say, SFN's selection at Moose Lake overlaps most of the provincial recreation sites. See Appendix 3 SFN Moose Lake parcel with provincial rec site overlay. So in our previous discussions with them, they did not overlap. It was going to be separate. They were going to be on the outsides of the recreation site. So I am concerned that Mr. Morgan has a different understanding of what's happening at Moose Lake than what this council does. So I think we need more clarification on what he means by overlaps most of the recreation site. And they're doing a review to find out what they can do with this, basically. So again, that's been a big concern of mine. That is a recreation site for everybody to have access to. And I don't think it should be owned by any individual corporation or First Nation band. And we need to make sure that it isn't for our residents. And the other portion with Moose Lake that I have a concern of that I never brought up with the government previously is the waters that flow into Moose Lake are all on the left-hand side of that picture there. And I have concern of what type of development or what they would be trying to do in that area over there where the water flows in. I mean, there's 3 or 4 different areas that flow in that are fish-bearing streams. First Nation or not, you know, I don't think you can do anything around fish-bearing streams. So that was not brought up with the government previous to this letter, but I think that should also be addressed. And the last thing I have concern about is they've changed their selection down around the Murray River boat launch. And they have now included 2 sections that they call Tumbler Ridge 6 TLA, Tumbler Ridge 7 TLA. And those 2 selections are on the opposite side of the highway. Now they would incorporate all 4 corners of the highway junction with Murray River. And I have a bit of concern with that because there's 2 access roads in there as well. There's an access road to go underneath the bridge up by the rail line and another access road to access the other side of the rail bridge. And those 2 selections we did not talk about when they were here originally. We did talk about Tumbler Ridge TLA 4, which was an extension of the rail line, and we had said to them that, you know, rail could be a possible area. I don't quite understand the positioning of this one. It's up on the bank there. I don't know how they could turn that into a rail yard, but I do have concerns about 6 and 7. So where are we at with this letter? Are we allowed to have some discussion on this letter to send back to them, or does that have to be brought up in a separate time?
No, we're discussing it now. We haven't had any communication with them prior to this conversation, so glad you brought forward those concerns. From our last meeting with Saulteau, they weren't interested in or they were carving out all roads and as far as access roads, I'm sure those concerns can be addressed. And as far as Tumbler Ridge 4, I'm not sure of that selection, but I think the biggest one was the Tumbler Ridge 5 selection that ensured that the boat launch was carved out. So we weren't just going to rely on highway right-of-way. So that we can definitely forward that and address your concerns there.
So are we going to have an opportunity to sit down with Saulteau again now that they've revised this and the government, or is this the government saying to us these are the revised selections that you have, or do we get an opportunity to? Because like I say, we never talked about 6 and 7. They never said they were going there. Mm-hmm. And I just, to me, I think that all 4 corners of that boat launch area, you know, it's an excellent opportunity for somebody at some point down the road to do cabins for tourism. It may be them, the First Nation group may take it on, but if they don't, nobody else can, because there's no area right around that launch that could be utilized at that time, right? So to me, I think it's kind of a sin to have all 4 of those areas we can't get access to, right? So.
Yeah. Okay. Any other discussion? Councillor Majinski?
Thank you, Mayor Burchard. I think for the Moose Lake section there, the west side, they mentioned because it was the fish-bearing stream and it's really mossy, you can't really build there. I think it was mainly for their medicinal purposes. And I think they expressed that the first time around when we had chats with them. So it'd be interesting to see if they actually overlap or they actually brought up, they might have just had incorrect wording in their letter here with the province. I don't understand why, if they did, because where the provincial grounds are, I don't see where they overlap. They should have like a different color there if they did overlap. I think it's gonna be cut and dry where they stop and end. But we should get definitely clarification on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't quite understand the overlapping portion of that. Councillor Howe?
Yeah, and this map is not the map they presented to us. This is significantly different from the one that we got in our meeting. Because the area in orange that the government thought was the recreation site was about halfway down the lake. And we had discussions about there is an area halfway down the lake where there's a turnaround, there's a bathroom there's an access to the lake for like canoes and they said that they did not think that was within the recreation site. Now, by this picture, it is in the recreation site. So again, we need some clarification and like Councilor Kuczynski says, it may be a mistake or a typo within the letter, or it may have been put in there specifically that, you know, you had your opportunity, was in the letter to catch it, and we've caught it. So
Yep.
I think we need to at least have some type of a follow-up meeting with the government and SOTO, and I don't know if it's possible that you could arrange that, but
Yep,
I
absolutely.
don't know how this COVID thing works, but we need to have those things hammered out before we can, in my mind, so I can say, yeah, I'm happy with any of these selections they have.
Yeah, I agree. And I think our response to, excuse me, Dale Morgan, can list some of these concerns and also request a meeting with SOTO as well. I'm sure they'll be happy to meet with us, seeing that there are some changes there. So, yeah, we'll definitely set that up.
Okay.
Any other concerns, questions, Councillor Korkalka?
Yeah, thank you. So should we just make maybe a motion, add that to our action summary sheet so that staff can work on that and we can see when the date's gonna come up?
Yep, sure. Go ahead.
Well, I'll make a motion that we add the meeting with SOTO and the government onto our action list. To have a meeting date confirmed by staff.
Ask staff to set up a meeting with both SOTO or
Yeah,
and the government, or just SOTO? Both SOTO and the government?
I would like.
Yeah. Okay. Seconder, Councilor Majinski. Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And so, councillors, did you want to wait for a response until we get a meeting with them, or did you want to send a letter as well, or listing out some concerns? Councillor Howe?
Yeah, I think it would be appropriate for our CAO to send an email saying these are the few of the concerns that we would like to discuss in the meeting. And if she could summarize the discussion of this topic right now, I think that's good enough in my mind.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you. Okay, anything else council would like to discuss on the consent agenda? Councillor Kirby?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to bring up Community Futures Letter of Support.
Seconder, Councillor Majinski. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Councillor Kirby?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that the district sends a letter of support for the Community Futures Peace Liard on their application to Northern Development Trust for funding a Regional Business Liaison position in the South Peace region.
Seconder, Councillor Majinski. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Anything else on the consent agenda, council? Councillor Norbury.
I'd like to bring up 7.5.
Seconder, Councillor Howe. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you. Chair. So we received this letter from Jesse Maxon regarding the parks. First, I'd like to thank Ms. Maxon for sending this letter. It's good to hear from our residents, and this gives us another opportunity to talk about parks in our community. I think now, because we are in phase 2 of the provincial reopening plan, I think we should be having a discussion on reopening our public parks and skate parks. I do believe that these parks do pose a risk to tumblers' children and their families, but also at this time, the infection in the Northern Health region is low, and Tumbler Ridge also. I definitely have a concern for people of Tumbler Ridge, adults and children. But I think that this is the time that we should be opening our parks. We should be allowing parents to assess the risk themselves and act accordingly. But I also believe that we do need to remain vigilant to watch what is happening in our region with the COVID-19 crisis and infection rates, and step in if we feel it is unsafe for our community. At this time, I think we should be having that discussion about reopening.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kirkowka.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. So yeah, I was gonna bring the same thing up, Councilor Norberry. I was gonna talk to Ms. Torval about our parks as well, just due to the letter we received and some people on Facebook, now that we go off, but I mean, I said I'd bring it up. Staff, or she'd mentioned how the staff's meeting tomorrow in regards to the playgrounds as well as the skateboard park, and kind of see where they sit within what they can do to get them open. So maybe we can hear from Ms. Torval. I know it's before their meeting, but I think she's aware they're doing it tomorrow.
Ms. Torval, can you explain staff's plans here over the next few days?
Thank you, Your Worship. We're meeting tomorrow morning, and we're going to be discussing opening the playgrounds, the parks around Tumbler Ridge, including the skateboard park. And we're just going to look and see what protocols we're going to put in place, if any. We'll probably be looking at removing the signage that's there and replacing with something like use at your own risk and those sorts of things, so that everything's covered, and hopefully parents will be able to monitor each other and make sure that social distancing and everything else, is being practiced as much as possible. And yeah, so we are definitely.
Okay, and has there been any communication from the provincial government as far as signage goes?
No, I haven't received anything other than what was in that BC's restart plan, and there really wasn't specified signage in there as such.
Okay.
Did receive some communications from WorkSafe BC, and they have stipulations that they want to see municipalities, not just municipalities, but workplaces and areas, enforcing and putting up. Mind you, WorkSafe BC looks out for the employees, but yeah, so we will be following
Okay.
what we're supposed to as long as we can. And on that note as well, as long as the transmission rate stays where it is right now, if we see that there is a surge in transmissions, those restrictions could come back into place again, where we're shutting things down again. Because the main thing is for everyone to be safe.
Yep.
We want our residents to be safe. We want our children to be safe. So.
Absolutely. Councillor Howe?
Yeah, well, it was a municipal decision, right? This was not mandated by the province or the government, and it was our choice. And like last week I said, I support that we open the skate park. We couldn't get that to go through, but as well as the parks now. I mean, like it's good for our staff to have the flavor of council. That it sounds like 3 of us at this point are in favor of them opening up. But I think that's also important too, that for all of us just to state your opinion. Whether or not you're having a vote on it or not, where are you with it? And that's my take on it, that we should be opening them back up. So.
Okay. Councillor Kirby?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. Yeah, I've had a lot of discussions with residents, and the residents are ready, and they, I think, can handle, making choices for their family, and absolutely use at your own risks. We are low in transmissions if we've even had a case. So, I think it's time that we open the parks back up also.
Okay. Councillor Lehman?
Thank you, Mayor. I have no problem opening the playgrounds. The only thing I'm worried about is if something happens and then the residents all of a sudden decide, well, okay, you guys decided to open it, now you're on the hook, it's your fault. And that's what I don't like. And parents have to take some responsibility in looking after their kids and making sure that they, try to keep that distance and at least watch what they're doing. It's just, I realize that kids need a place to play, but I don't want anything to happen to them either. So I just, it's hard, but yeah, I have no problem as long as parents realize what they're getting into.
Councillor Majinski?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. I still stand firmly as to what I said last week on opening the skate park and the rest of the parks in the community. I think our main issue is not our community. I have full faith in the residents and the community of how they manage things. The only concern I have is out-of-towners coming in. But I don't see them coming to our skate parks and using our playgrounds. They're coming out to use our backcountry and coming to see our sights and sounds of our waterfalls, which are just overloaded right now with out-of-towners. So personally, in town, I think we do a very good job here. So I'm in support of opening everything.
Okay. Councilor Kirkcalka?
Yeah, just back to staff, I guess, once the meeting's tomorrow, do we have an assumption of how long it would take to open up our playgrounds and skateboard park? Is there a timeline there from staff side?
Ms. Torval?
Thank you, council. I'm hoping it'll be done by the end of the week. Target?
Councilor Norbury?
I guess my question is to staff. Would they like a resolution from council in the decision-making process?
Ms. Torval, is it the plan for staff to start opening these playgrounds, or is it needed for a motion?
We really don't need a motion. However, if council feels they'd like to give a motion, then that's fine, but it really isn't necessary.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Okay. Anything else on the consent agenda? Okay, moving on to bylaws, 8.1, golf course fees and charges bylaw and policy updates. A report from the Deputy Director of Corporate Services dated May 19th, 2020, seeking adoption of the fees and charges amendment bylaw and policy changes. Recommendation, please. Councillor Kirby.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the District of Tumbler Ridge Fees and Charges Amendment Bylaw number 688/2020 be adopted.
Seconder. Councillor Norbury. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Second one, please. Councillor Kirby.
I'll move that the Admin 38 approved exempt event policy be amended as presented.
Seconder. Councillor Majinski. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Third one. Councillor Kirby.
I'll move that the Admin 53 golf course cart storage policy be adopted as presented.
Seconder. Councillor Lehman. Discussion. Councillor Howe.
So I had a resident contact me today, and he has a concern. He is a VIP member in the community, so he gets his free golf membership. And he asked me, will I be required now to purchase a membership so that I can keep my golf cart in the golf cart storage? And I said, I don't think that is the intention of our council. The idea of the VIP members in the community, he's a firefighter, this guy. His concern is that that's kind of the opposite of a VIP, right? So he gets the free golf, but now he has to pay for a membership just so he can keep his golf cart down in there. I don't think that's the intention that we were going for with that. So I don't know if that can be changed or if council has any flavor to change that, but I think we should. I think that should be changed.
Well, what if we just declared the VIP memberships as being a member? Does that, because that's the stipulation there, is right?
Yep. You know, so long as that's clear to staff, then yeah, I would have no issue with that.
Yeah. Ms. Torval, is there a motion needed for this? Can you explain the wording in that, please?
So under definitions, you have member means a person who holds a valid Tumbler Ridge Golf and Country Club annual membership for the current year and does not include VIP golf memberships. So that's what's currently there. So if you would like to, staff can amend the wording to include.
Instead of not include, we could put include.
And includes VIP golf memberships.
Councillor Kirby?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. One option is that regardless if I'm a member or not, I do have the right, if I'm in the club storage at that point, there's still another fee besides your membership, and that's the club storage fee, so.
Absolutely.
You know, there's the option of if you have your free membership, but you should still probably purchase that club storage fee of $420 or $380.
Yep, Councillor Howe.
Yeah, and you have to.
Yeah,
You
okay.
do have to. So
Just-
all I'm saying is
Yeah.
he was concerned that because he is not purchasing a membership, he was given a membership, but the way the mayor has explained it, he still has to purchase
Right,
it, yeah.
just making that clear.
Yep, for sure.
Okay. So, go ahead, Councillor
I'll
Hall,
put that amendment forward there and
to switch not included to include.
includes, yeah.
Okay, seconder? Councillor Majinski, thank you. Discussion? Councillor Majinski?
So we all receive these VIP memberships as well. So does that mean that we just have to pay a yearly fee? I just don't want to see us being priority to paying members of the golf course, because I don't think it's fair for us to go in and take somebody else's cart storage from them. That's my only concern, and I don't think that a VIP member should set or have the precedent of being able to be the first one to have the ability to get a cart storage. I think all paid members should have first go at it, just because they do put in a lot of money there, right?
Yeah. Councillor Howe?
And you make a good point there. You know, I have cart storage. My cart is stored down there. I'm one of the people that do. But it doesn't mean that if Daryl then wants to get in cart storage that he automatically gets in there first. And I think there's a list. There has been a list in the past that is created that there are people that are on that list that when anybody leaves cart storage, that the next person on that list is offered that opportunity. And you know, if you were a councillor, I can't see why you couldn't get your name on that list as well, and you'd be listed as anyone else. So.
Yeah, I believe you're right, Councillor. Councillor Norbury?
Thank you, Chair. I think in the case, if we're looking at who the VIP members are, I think there are more people on the VIP membership that should have preference for the cart storage. And a lot of these people, they are firefighters, they're first responders, right? These people, they need it. I agree with you. I will not be using the cart storage myself, but I just don't think that should preclude these members of the community that we're given these passes to.
Councillor Majinski?
Yeah, and for pretty much everybody I know that have a VIP, their spouse most likely pays for a membership as well. So there's that side of it as well, right? So there are, we're not a full family has a VIP membership. Is probably on the list as well. So.
Councillor Kirby?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. Right now, there's not many stalls available, and I'm not sure what the waiting list is like, but I think that's something we should maybe look at to add to our strategic plan. If there is enough, if there's enough people out there that want clubs or cart storage, maybe that's something we look at in adding to the golf course later.
Good point. Councillor Howe?
Yeah, I was just going to say a list would, if there is a list in place, and I guess we can get that from staff if there is, then it doesn't matter if you're where you are. As long as you're on that list, if you get a VIP membership or not, if you're just a paying member, it doesn't matter. You're on the list, and it's by the selection of where your number sits on the list, right? So,
Ms. Torval, are you aware of a cart storage list, priority list by chance?
I am aware that there is a list, but that's as far as I can go with that at this
Okay.
time.
Yeah, as far as I understand, by making this amendment, I don't think we can bump into that list or anything like that. Yeah. Councillor Lehman?
Thank you, Mayor. Instead of having covered storage like the one that's down there now, why don't we put in a fenced compound where you could store your cart if you were inclined to do so? And instead of spending money on putting a building in there, just put a fenced compound down there. Just so people can put it down there for the summer and then take it home for the winter.
That's possible. Any more comments on the amendment?
Sorry.
Okay. Call the question on the amendment. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Any more discussion on the amended motion? Call Call to question, all in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. 8.2, zoning amendment bylaw number 690, 2020. A report from the Deputy Director of Corporate Services dated May 19th, 2020, seeking first two readings of the zoning amendment bylaw number 690, 2020. Recommendation, please. Councillor Kirby?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll move that the zoning amendment bylaw number 690, 2020 be read a first time.
Seconder? Councillor Norbury? Discussion? Councillor Gorkalka?
So I fully support, mountain bike association. I guess my question is, have they come forward yet with their master plan? I know it was being done, and I'm just wondering where that sits. And the reason I ask that in regards to this zoning amendment is we have a skateboard park that's down below. We have a jump track, or whatever they call it, over by Public Works. Looking at doing a pump track behind the water treatment. And I'm curious where all these downhill trails are gonna end. Is that another different location?
As far as I understand, yeah. Ms. Torval, have you, are you able to answer the question about master plan?
I don't recall, I haven't seen the master plan, but these plans are in the works, should I say, in progress.
I do remember seeing the old master plan, but Councillor Majinski?
Yeah, the Trails Master Plan is in completion, and I think it will be out tomorrow. And we will see that as well. And it is actually on the ridge. And that was to secure land tenure, which is still in the works for the downhill trails. So that is what we're waiting on for there to proceed with additional funding and sponsorships and stuff like that.
Okay, Councillor Gorkalka?
So are you aware where all the trailheads, or the trails ends will end in? Like where part of the community are they coming into?
So
Do they?
the premises will be to start where the bald spot is, because that's a central location. That's where there is some parking there. They would like to work within that area with an easy trail up. So not just for biking, but strollers, whatever, to get up there easier instead of straight up the mountain. And then there will be different hubs coming down. And then from there, they'd like to potentially put in a trail that links to the community through the Crown Land there. Is all between the land of the Tumbler Ridge and Crown Land. So, but there is a tiered approach to that, but that will be later down the road for sure. Funding permit.
Councillor?
Yeah, so to Councilman Majinski, so at this point, they all end at the bottom of the water treatment plant, or the water tower?
They will all come close to that area, yeah.
And then when you, later on down, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
later down the road, when does it come into town, and where would it come into town at? Do you guys even know that yet, or does the club know that?
Yeah, there is a draft plan of that, but that has been finalized or been agreed upon. So, but it will link up with the pump track and the jump park that will have to be revitalized for sure. Like that, that'll come into play as well eventually, because it is a hazard as of right now. So,
Councillor Norbury, then Councillor Howe.
Thank you. So I'm in favor of the zoning amendment bylaw change. I'm excited. You know, it's the first step to a whole new activity for our community, and yeah, I support it.
Thank you. Councillor Howe?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Any more discussion? Okay, call to question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Second recommendation, Councillor Norbury.
That the zoning amendment bylaw number 690, 2020 be read at second time.
Seconder, Councillor Lehman. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. New business, North Peace Savings and Credit Union Signing Authority update. A report from the Deputy Director of Corporate Services dated May 19th, 2020. Seeking an update in signing authority. Recommendation, please. Councillor Kirby?
I will move that the district signing authorities for the North East Savings and Credit Union are updated to reflect the removal of Chief Financial Officer Laura Saunders and the addition of Selma Schreiber, Chief Financial Officer, and Dustin Curry, Director of Protective Services.
Seconder. Councilor Majinski. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. 9.2. Number 52, Secunca Place Remediation Action Requirement. A report from the Director of Operations Infrastructure regarding 52 Secunca Place remedial action. I'll go ahead and move the recommendation. The Council proclaims the following resolution in an open meeting pursuant to Council's authority under Division 12, Part 3 of the Community Charter. Whereas the Council of the District of Tumbler Ridge has authority under Division 12 of Part 3 of the Community Charter to impose remedial action requirements in relation to nuisances. And whereas the agenda package before the Council of the District of Tumbler Ridge regarding 52 Secunca Place, Tumbler Ridge, BC, includes the staff report of the Director of Operations and Infrastructure dated March 23rd, 2020, the memorandum of SNC Lavalin, Inc., dated January 6, 2020, to the District of Tumbler Ridge, design drawings prepared by Urban Systems dated December 17th, 2019, and the Urban Systems construction cost estimate dated December 20th, 2019. And whereas the Council of the District of Tumbler Ridge has considered the material in the agenda package and the other material and submissions presented to Council at this meeting, now therefore, the Council of the District of Tumbler Ridge, in open meeting assembled, resolves, number 1, that pursuant to Sections 72 and 74 of the Community Charter, Council declare the seepage collection system and the PVC pipe outlet, the drainage works located on the property of 52 Secunca Place, Tumbler Ridge, BC, and legally described as PID 005-415-748, Lot 12, District Lot 3164, Peace River District Plan 30291, the property, to create a nuisance because the drainage works collect and channel water onto the surface of the District of Tumbler Ridge's roadway and onto other lands. Number 1, the Council order the registered owner of the property, Andrew Stephen Spencer, the owner, to replace the drainage works with a French drain, manhole, cleanouts, and piping that collects and drains water into the property's subsurface storm service, the required works, with the required works being installed in accordance with A, the design prepared by Urban Systems and dated December 17th, 2019, B, the recommendations set out in SNC Lavalin, Inc.'s memorandum dated January 6, 2020 to the District of Tumbler Ridge, and storm service permit connection and inspection requirements imposed by the District of Tumbler Ridge, Building and Plumbing Bylaw number 600, 2013. 1, that Council require the required works to be completed within 35 days of the owner being sent or served with notice of this remedial action requirement under Section 77(1) of the Community Charter. Also, that Council direct the district's staff to give notice of this remedial action requirement in accordance with Section 77(1) of the Community Charter. And 1, that pursuant to Section 17 of the Community Charter, if the owner fails to complete the required works in the time required by Council, the Council authorizes the District of Tumbler Ridge by its staff and contractors to enter onto the property and perform the required works at the expense of the owner, and for this purpose, the District staff may A, retain a contractor or contractors in accordance with the District's purchasing policy to perform the remedial work, and B, recover all costs incurred by the District as a debt payable by the owner, which debt, if unpaid by December 31st of the year in which it is incurred, may be recovered as taxes in arrear under Section 258, 1C of the Community Charter. Seconder, please. Councillor Howell.
I missed part of that. Would you mind reading? Oh, good job.
Seconder, Councillor Howell. Discussion. Councillor Howell.
So my only concern with this is what happens with, if this gentleman's had the opportunity to fix this all along, he knows the issue is there, he knows that this is coming, and that we go and do this repair, and it's a $50,000 bill, and it gets tacked to his taxes. If he chooses at that time not to pay his taxes or whatever, we're gonna get stuck with this building as well. So I don't think that there would be any concern, but I just wanted to run that past staff, that if we get stuck with the building, that the way I understand it's in really bad shape and black mold and whatever else, whatever we're doing right now, if we had to tear the building down or get rid of the building, will it affect the work that we are doing now? That's my only concern.
The remedial work.
Correct.
Good question. Mrs. Torval?
Thank you, council, and I've invited Mr. Beal to be here tonight because he's been working on this file from day one, so, I'll pass it over to Mr. Beal.
Ms. Norville, Your Worship, Council. So in response to Councillor Hal's question, the work should still be there, and the work would divert that water into the storm system, so that will always be part of that property. There is a maintenance requirement. The manhole needs to be maintained on a regular basis. We're not sure how regular that should be, but if it collects silt in that, it will have to be cleaned. That would be placed as a covenant on that property if it were to become the district's property. So any future owners of the property would certainly have to maintain it as part of that covenant.
And if the building was removed or torn down, it's not going to affect what it's still going to remain in place. And
That's correct. So the reason for the works is to take remedial action to prevent it from damaging district property.
Okay.
So it's, as you said, I'm not sure if you've been up there lately, but there's substantial damage in the cul-de-sac in regards to the asphalt, which is just going to continue to occur. So that hopefully
Thank you, Mr. Beal. Councillor Norbury?
Thank you. So I'm in support of all the recommendations, being that I think we're obviously following the letter of the law here by all these motions, but I think we are still trying to give the owner of this property every opportunity to correct the problem himself. We've even gone to the extent of coming up with an engineering package for them to follow. They can just find a contractor, here we go. At the end of the day, I think we do need to take care of the other people in that area because it is a safety issue every year. And with this recommendation, if the owner is unable to, which, you know, that is what it is, then we're gonna have to go up there and do the work ourselves. And I think we have to. You know, our residents require a certain level of service to our community, and I think with that ice build up there, it is giving there is risk that they're not able to have access to the community, make up services, right? Like it's a danger to the first responders going up there, not to mention just driving up there or walking. So I think these are the steps that we have to take, and I think we have some good recommendations here.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Lehman?
Thank you, Mayor. I agree with Councillor Norbury. And regardless of whether or not the owner does it, I mean, the $50,000, it will probably save a lot of money during the winter, not having to look after that place or clean the ice. So I know if the owner doesn't do it, it's a fairly substantial bill, but I think eventually it'll pay off. We'll save money and not having to deal with it. So I think it's a good idea.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Schedule the meetings. Any issues there, council? Okay, councilor's business. Councilor Kirkcalka.
Yeah, I have a couple things, Bishop. One is with the playgrounds being looked at, the meeting tomorrow, is the town hall opening to the public gonna be looked at as well?
Ms. Torval.
Sorry.
Town hall opening to the public, you know, I mean, obviously some restrictions, is that being looked at as well?
It is being looked at, but that will be a different meeting. And right now, the target date for opening town hall is June 1st,
Thank you.
with protocols in place.
Thank you, Ms. Torval. Go ahead.
And the other thing is, we all received an email, and thanks for Ms. Torville passing on, as regards to the airport, with having no working lighting out there to be able to land an aircraft in regards to a medical emergency that happened in Tumble Ridge. I actually reached out, talked to the lady that sent the email, and she's the grandma of the child, and we had quite the conversation, and I talked to Ms. Torville today, and I'm glad that Mr. Beal's here. I know in the past, there was issues with lighting out at the airport previously as well, and I believe that's why, staff has brought it forward to have it fully repaired. But they did, do a minor fix, or, I mean, it probably wasn't minor, but they did have it, an issue one spring as well with the lighting going down due to water sitting in the bowls, and I'm just wondering, if Mr. Bill knows if there's any way of temp fixing lighting at the airport until we can get a contractor in to do the fix. I mean, we are isolated, and I mean, if we can get an aircraft in, it's probably best. I'm just curious if there is an idea that we could do something out there.
It is important, absolutely. Ms. Torval?
Thank you. Mr. Gill?
Ms. Torval, Worship Council. So in the last month or so, I'm aware of 2 new medevacs that couldn't land because of the lighting. The lighting itself, we've been fixing and patching over ever since I've been in this position for sure, and even previous to me. The problem with the lighting up there is water. And every year, the pits get full, which affects the connections. So we have over the years solid connected those with shrink tube and try to make them waterproof. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Right now we have another problem with the lights being out, and it is due to the water. But it also has an effect on the rest of the equipment. So anytime you get a drain on the system, it affects the circuitry. So parts that are for the transformers are no longer available. We can't get them. This is the reason why we have a tender hope for replacing lights. That closes this week. By the end of August, we should have lights in place. I did have an electrician look at it last week, and he tried it, and there's still substantial water in the pool pits that causes a drain on the system and blows the circuits. So I am trying to work through it. I am going to fix them to the best of our ability without spending a whole lot of time or effort on them. Please be rest assured that coming the end of August, we will have functional, dependable lighting system at the airport. So these medevacs will take comfort in knowing that that license is going to be replaced and depend on our airport again.
Is it currently down at the moment?
It's currently
Down. Okay. So are you expecting it to be down until the end of August, or it's just a touch and go?
So part of the contract is to ensure that the lighting remains operational through the construction period. Obviously, with some instances, and mostly it'll be daily work anyway, the lights are only used for night flights. But until the water dissipates, until we get through this wet period, it's difficult to trace and diagnose where the problem is. And fix it. So
Okay.
we're working on that. It's just it might take another couple of weeks for the water to dissipate.
Okay, thank you. Council? Any other councilors' business? Okay. Question answer period. Did you receive any questions, Ms. Torval? No? No? Okay. Great. Adjournment, please. Councilor Kukalka.
Tuesday, May 19, 2020, regular council meeting be adjourned.
Seconder, Councilor Lehman. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you.